Hi, I'm Keith Allen, and I play Murphy on Z Nation, and I listen to One Up Gaming Podcast.
Hello, Andy. This is Colin. I won't be able to get in tonight. I'm sweating like a pig. I'm sweating like a pig.
So, David here, One Up Gaming. We're going to talk about, well, let me just count the games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 games I've played this last week or so. I've got them all up on our YouTube channel, so if you're interested in any of these games, then please have a look. Just search One Up Gaming, go to our YouTube channel, subscribe to us, like us, bell us, all that good stuff. And you can see these random games that I play every day and get up online. And also, we do get sent games to review and games to play, new games, so we do have new stuff on there all the time as well. So, as I said, this is a F1 special show, just because I love Formula 1. I completely missed the start of the Formula 1 season. As I'm recording this, the first race has happened, and I was so excited to watch it. It was quite a boring race, but I was just so intrigued in all the inter-team politics and how the sort of like the testing and all that kind of stuff, see if that all came to fruition. And it was quite good. I quite enjoyed the show. So, yeah, we'll talk about the games we've been playing this week. So, first of all, we have to talk about F1 World Grand Prix. And we played this on the PS1. So, I think this is the 1999 edition. And what can I say? It's a PlayStation game. It's very arcadey. Even when they're not trying to be arcadey, they are very arcadey. And yeah, it's not as good as the N64 version or the sequel that was on the Dreamcast, but it's an adequate, decent little game to play. I quite enjoyed it. But going into the next sort of phase, we played F1 World Grand Prix on the N64, and this at the time was a revelation. All they had to do was show the replay on the TV as on the advert. It was like a replay of the game, and it looked, back then it looked almost real. It was amazing. It really, really was good. Frame rate about 20 frames a second at a push at best. It drops a little bit, but it plays so well. It looks so good. It feels really good. And even now, it's one of the better F1 sort of games you can play in the early 3D era. And I really, really enjoyed this one. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was really, really good. So that was the N64 version, which was fun. So next up, I'll just talk about this as a pair, because it's just F1 pole position 1 and 2 on the Super Nintendo. And this one is more of a Mode 7-ish sort of game, viewed from behind the car. All these, I'm going to sound really snobby now, but the vast majority of games before they went 3D on like racing games, I didn't really enjoy. They were quite fun and things like that, but I just didn't enjoy the feeling. I could hear a big bangs going on next door, I think. The handling, the physics just don't quite go together as what you'd hope. Don't get me wrong, there is some games that started off as the arcade Sega sort of stuff, which was 2D sprite scalers, and they got the act together and they played really, really well. Just having a look out of my cupboard then to see if I could see anything happening, but no, nothing. But yeah, little 2D sprite scalers they were really, really fun. But some of these games on the SNES and the Mega Drive especially, because that really was underpowered, because it was like quite old at the time. The Mode 7 was fun. It was good on like Mario Kart, it was good on F-Zero, it was good on other arcadey inspired games. But when you're trying to do a realistic sort of game, when everything is pure flat, the tracks, you're racing are pure flat, because that's Mode 7, it's just a 2D sprite stretched across and made to rotate and stuff. But so F1 pole position 1 and 2, it wasn't very good. I didn't enjoy the games. So next up, another 3D inspired game, and this was F1 World Grand Prix. I think this was I think it was an official game on the PlayStation Portable. I think. I'm questioning myself now. And it just says the F1. So if I just sort of turn that off for a second and click on this. Yeah, Sony Computer Entertainment presents F1 World Grand Prix. So that was a official Formula 1 game for the PlayStation Portable. I believe it had been about 2005-ish. When was the PlayStation Portable? Yeah, I think it'd have been around that sort of time, wouldn't it? Can't remember now. Anyway, this game looks great for a PSP game. And I know that sounds really derogatory and all this kind of stuff, but some of the PSP stuff looked horrendous and played horrendous. But this one looks good, it plays well, and I really enjoyed the feeling. It had more pick up and play ability. It had a lot more little tiny bits to do onto the game, which was quite fun. I really enjoyed that type of thing. But yeah, so for the PSP, it was an amazing little F1 game. I really enjoyed it. Good game. So next up, we have F1 World Championship Edition for the Mega Drive, and it's trying to look like a sprite scaler on the Mega Drive, but the Mega Drive can't really do sprite scaling, so it looks really clunky and chunky, and it just didn't play well. The handling's really bad, and yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. It's probably one of the better Mega Drive games, but yeah. And then there was F1 Circus CD that I played for the Mega CD, and I believe that's the Japanese name. I can't remember what it was in the UK, but yeah, there was an F1 game for the Mega CD, and it looks and plays better, but it's still a horrendous game to play, to be honest. Graphically, it's a little better, but it's very minimal in the background department, but it's fast, and I guess that's what you need in these sort of games. So next up, back to the PS1, and we played F1 98, and I believe this is the F1 98 was the first game after Bizarre Creations did F1 97. Did I not play F1 97? Oh. No, I might not have played F1 97. No, I thought I would have done. That would have been one of the easy ones to do, because that was amazing. Anyway, F1 98. This one's like Formula 1 98. And this one, I believe it was done by Visual Science. Were they Scottish, or is that just my head imagining things? But Visual Science, I think the game looked so much better graphically. It just looked clean. The graphic, just everything just looked a lot better. But the playability and the frame rate was nowhere near as good as the Formula 1 game and the Formula 1 97 that was done by Bizarre Creations. And say what you want to say, this was their first year doing it, and they only had like a year to do it because they didn't know Bizarre Creations was going to go and make games for Sega and the Dreamcast, because they left to go do Metropolis Street Racer. But yeah, Formula 1 98, I think it got really bad reviews at the time, but going back to it now, yeah, it's not great, but it's still better than what everyone was saying at the time. And we also played one of the EA Sports games, and that was F1 Championship Season 2000. And again, I believe this one is a continuation of the Visual Science. Was it Visual Science? Can't remember now. But it's the same team who did F1 98 before Sony brought it in-house and did that. Studio 33 did it. But F1 Championship Season 2000 is the same team that did the F1 98. And you can see they've had a few years to hone the engine, to polish it and to clean it up, and it looks and plays really well. It's one of the better F1 games on the PlayStation, to be honest. So then next up we have the Formula 1 06 on the PS2. And this was, I think, Studio 33, or was it Studio Liverpool? Which was then changed to Sony Studios or something stupid. Oh, my cup of tea stuck to the table. There we go. I've got it, lads. And lasses. I know there's definitely one lass out there that's stupid enough to watch this. Anyway, F1 06 looks and plays amazing. I loved this. It's so fast, it's so smooth. It is just a perfect F1 game. I really, really, really enjoyed this. I don't know why I drink my cups of tea when I'm making this. I guess I need like moisture in my mouth. But yeah, it's again, it's just one of the better games. PS2, I was going to say underrated, but no, it wasn't. It's like 100 million consoles sold. It was amazing. It was a great console. And Formula 1 06, I think the only negative I could say about the Formula 1 games at this period of time, it was when Sony got into a kind of rut, and every game was just basically the same, just with new season stats and cars, but they all were very similar games, weren't they? So we'll move on, and we have F1 2002 on the Game Boy Advance. Now this one, it is very chunky. It looks like the old Mega Drive sort of games. I wasn't a big fan of the handling mechanic of this. Like a lot of these Formula 1 2D sprite-based games, they just don't feel and play very good. But for a GBA, it looks nice. It looks graphically nice, pleasing on the eye, very pixelated, but what do you expect? So then we have F1 Pole Position 64. Now this was by Ubisoft, I think they released this one, and it's not got a patch on the F1 World Grand Prix 1 and 2 for the N64. It looks very, very minimal. The the polygons, it's like 6 polygons per car. It's very chunky, very square and pointy. The handling's not as good. It feels very understeery. The pace just doesn't feel there. It just feels slow and sluggish, and graphically it's just rubbish. So F1 Pole Position 64, carrying on the pole position name, it's just not very good. Well, and then we're coming on to more official Formula 1 games from Sony. So Formula 1 2000 and Formula 1 2001. I'm not sure if I've got both the trailers or videos of these. There's 2000 and 2001, yeah. I've got both of these trailers, so they'll be on in the background. And I will say, these look amazing and they play really well. They are so arcadey though, even though you go into the sim mode and stuff. But yeah, it's astonishing what the PS1 could do when a team that knew what they were doing made games for it. And I believe these were made by Studio 33, who were an internal studio, and they did, I think, did they do the, oh, was that road and track and road, something? Who did the anti-grav bike, Jet Racer? I can't remember now. I know these are the ones I think did the rally games, Rallycross 1 and 2. I think these did that, so they probably had an engine of some sort, and they could really get these games up and running. And then, change of pace, PC games now. Racing Manager 2014. So this is an oldie. I used to enjoy it when I was like a kid. I mean, literally a kid, because like this is like 10 years ago. But I'm sure I played a game like Racing Manager like 07 or Racing Manager 10. No, Racing Manager. Oh god, it must have been maybe even like in the 90s. Maybe it was even in the 90s, man. But this game, it looks slicker. It's got a 3D match engine. It's got a 3D race engine, so when you're doing the managing of the race, you can actually see what's happening, and it'll do like little replays and things. And it plays very similar to all these new management racing games now, where your little dudes are racing around and you just make them say push harder, slow down, try to overtake, pit in, pit out, new strategies, that kind of thing. And yeah, it's adequate. It's just very chunky and not the best bitch, but that's because like it's like 10-year-old, isn't it? It's old. So the last game that we played this week to end the Formula 1 madness, and that is Motorsport Manager on the PC. And imagine Racing Manager 2014, that style of game, but it's been given this slick new paint job. Even though this came out in 2016, I think, so it wasn't that much newer, but everything just had that fine graphical sheen to it. It all was a lot more refined, that type of thing. I think it was on the mobile first for a few years, and then they came over onto the PC, made it bigger, made it better. And I think Sega published it as well, so there was a big name there doing the management side of things. So yeah, it's a great game. But with Motorsport Manager, it's not just the Formula 1 game, like tracks, the Formula 1 style cars. You can do like Indy stock, you can do loads of style of racing and cars and stuff. And it's a really, really good game. I think they're up to Motorsport Manager 3 now, I think. I'm not sure. But yeah, go onto Steam, go onto Google, have a look, see what you think. Go to our YouTube channel, have a look through some of them. And yeah, that's the games we've been playing this week. I do have to mention the fact that I watched 5 episodes, because that's what's out currently. 5 episodes of Season 2 of Halo, and oh my god, it is amazing, absolutely amazing. I just love the fact it's all out combat, all out action, and then it's got 1 or 2 episodes where it brings everything down as proper heart-to-heart moments, and it's just enough to keep it sort of ticking away, get the characters, get their feelings and emotions and stuff, and then all of a sudden back to the actual shooty, kill, bang bangs, and it is just really, really good. And because it's the F1 sort of special, I will just say that we have had in the last sort of week or so 2 staff quit from the Alpine F1 team, which was quite weird, but understandable, because I think they were already announced they were leaving sometime. Not officially, but within the team they'd announced, but they'd actually quit technically before the first race, but they stayed on to help during the weekend, and then as of Monday there was the email that went out through the team that said, yep, they've gone. So can Alpine resurrect their season, or are they going to finish the worst car team of this year? It's not looking good for them. It's really, really not looking good. And we have to mention the fact that the FIA president has been accused of race tampering. And this is because last year, the first race of the season, Fernando Alonso qualified 3rd and started the race 3rd. And when he pulled up to his pit box or start box to start the race, he was slightly a couple of inches too far out of the box, and he apologised, said he couldn't see because of the halo and new car and everything. But he got told that he had to have a 5-second stop and go penalty. So as they were racing around, someone crashed. He came into the pits. They did the 5-second stop, and then they did the pit stop as normal. So instead of it being like a 3-second pit stop, it was like an 8-second pit stop, which makes sense. But when you watch the replays, for the first 5 seconds, you're not supposed to touch or interact with the car at all. But it looked as though someone put the jack under the front of the car to keep it steady, and because of that, later on in the race, he finished third and then was on the podium and everything, and then it announced that he'd actually been given a 10-second penalty for that, and that dropped him down to fourth, and then his team fought it. This is what was out last year. His team questioned the thing. They explained the reasons why, like they weren't working on the car, they were just holding it still, that kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, the 10-second penalty was dropped and they were given third again. But now it looks as though it was the FIA manager who actually, well, not even manager, the president, is the one that actually came along and told him to drop the penalty. So it looks as though he might be getting it done. But is this weird timing, how it's just come out just as the Christian Horner stuff was getting ramped up again? It's just weird. I think there's a massive civil war going on in Formula 1. It's fun to watch from the outside, but it is still weird. So that is what we've been doing on this week's show, episode 390 of the One Up Game podcast. So David here, One Up Gaming, thank you. Back after this break.